Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, yeah, the old neighbor's dog's always barking. Alright, I'm gonna remove the power steering pump. I gotta get the water pump off of here. And I'm gonna kind of clue you in here on how to. I'm gonna just paint most of this block that you can see with the engine in here. So I'll be taping it off, removing the spark plugs, wires, spark plugs, and taping them off and screwing them back in there so I don't get paint on the threads. And I'll be painting as much as this engine as I can get to. The other side I ain't gonna really be able to get in there, but I do want to paint the front of this engine up. It's a low mileage engine. I'm gonna just put some paint on the intake and towards the front of this thing. So okay, so what I need to do here is put a little of my wax and grease remover. Look at all that grease come off of there. So I'm going to get my wax and grease remover and clean this up. So my tape will stick. So I can get my tape to stick on here. Once I get the tape on there, what I would do is come across and clean that edge up. So, like so. And then I want to come in with my tool here. And I'm just cleaning up around this timing chain cover. Okay, so as you see here, I'm just touching up the power steering pump. Okay, so now I got the backside painted. I'll let that dry, and then I'll flip it around and paint the outside. But it coming out pretty good, and like I said, I'm protecting the stuff that I don't want oversprayed. It should last. I'm painting it with 550 degrees engine paint, so the heat from the engine get on there, but it don't get as hot as it do like from painting the intake and the block and stuff. So it's gonna be fine. It's painted black. The front of the engine is gonna look good. It'll look pretty new, pretty prep when I clean the rest of the engine bay. Where the gasket was, I used the pad there to get around the gasket and tear the rest of that gasket up off of there. Just come in with the pad here. Make sure all my exhaust ports, make sure everything is closed up so I'm not getting stuff in none of my exhaust ports here. So I want to make sure all of these holes are plugged up here. So I don't get none of this rust. So I still got the valley pan on here. So that way, when I paint this, the valley pan is still going to be on there. So then I'll pull the valley pan out, and any dust or anything that's in that valley pan, I can take care of that then at that point. So what I'm going to do here, see all of that stuff just popping out of there? See, it's all on the, it just came off all on the drill bit. So what I want to do, I'm not drilling in there, I'm just drilling the rubber out of the holes. The back, I'm glad they came out because it's a little tighter back there to get in there. But these two in the front did not come out. So all I'm doing is drilling out that little hole. And I'll show you when I get ready to put the gaskets in that it's, you know, the rubber gaskets have two pins, you know, that drops off into that hole. So you want to make sure they clean out so they'll go all the way down up in there. So then what I do, I come in and I just want to spray that hole out. Now come back in here again, just make sure all the rubber is out of there. The whole gasket. I felt it come out then. So when I do that, it gets right up on that lip there too. And then all I want to do is come in now. Just clean the maintenance surfaces up. Okay, so after I get all of that cleaned up, what I do, that valley pan, and after I get all of that, it's kind of cold up here in Wisconsin today. It's like 49 degrees, the wind is blowing a little bit, so it might be blowing a little bit too much for me to paint these parts. And even if you paint them when it's cold like this, is not really a good thing. Look at that, cans blowing around. But so it's kind of good to wait till a warmer day, even if it get up in the 50s or 60s and the wind not blowing, that block, it's been sitting outside, it's gonna be cold regardless. But I believe the paint will stick. I done painted pieces in 50 degree, 55, no problem. So after I get everything cleaned up, it's been taking a while to get all of this done because of the fact that it's cold up here and this car is outside. All Alright, so back here where the back of the intake, I can't get in there to clean that surface like I did all the rest. So I'm gonna have to pull the distributor. So it's real greasy back there, so I gotta go get me a couple of more cans of brake cleaner, and I clean up back there, take a paintbrush and clean that up really good. Well, I could put me a marker on marking where I pull that distributor out at. So I don't want to have to go through all the trouble of setting, since I didn't do nothing with the timing chain or anything. I think the engine got lower miles on it. It runs pretty good. I just want to pull that distributor out. I might paint the distributor, clean it up, you know, paint a few things. But I got to get that off in order, and it'll make it easier for the intake to drop back in there anyway. Okay, so there you go, the other side of the power steering pump. It's coming out good. It's kind of cold out here, so the paint, I got a little run or two that I wouldn't have normally got, so you spray a little bit more paint, get it to flow out, but hey, it'll dry eventually. Supposed to be 50 something degrees today here in Wisconsin, 55 maybe. And the wind is blowing, so it makes it a little cooler, but it's a perfect day for me to get out here and get on this 79 Park Avenue and get the intake installed on this thing, and hopefully get the brake lines installed today. And after I do that, then this baby will be ready to fire up and roll. Okay, so if you look at the valley pan here, you got this part that's curves here, so I automatically know that the way this is gonna, it's gonna curve. It curves here. So, and then the back part of the valley pan looks like that back there. So that automatically tells me which side is the front. And got a little stuff on the rocker there, so then I want to come in with these gaskets here. Clean off of there. Alright, so then I want to come in with these gaskets here and figure out which ones are for what. So I automatically see that this front part is thick, so this is for that front gasket, because this one is thicker. And then I just got to figure out which one of these is for the back. I'm quite sure one is for a different engine, you know, so they give you these. So I'm going to save this other one because you just never know. So, and they recommend not putting any gasket sealer on the bottom of this, on the top. But in these corners, you want to gob this stuff in here. And I don't really don't want a lot of it to be in the hole. I don't want a lot of it to be in the hole that this little tab goes into. So I'm going to stick that down in there. And you want to make sure these are tucking up under. Make sure these are tucking up under the head, so it's nice and flush. Then I'll come and just throw a little bit more on top here. Let me get it to come out. And a little bit more in this corner. Alright. And then if you see, we got little tabs here that sticks out, and you want to make sure they go into the holes that they are intended for. And then these should go down, and they should snap into place. All right, now that baby's ready there. Alright, so I got the intake all painted up. Okay, so I put a couple of bolts on here. And that's going to allow me to set this intake in place. Looks like it's right where it needs to be. So if you look, at the corners, it's beading out pretty good there. And that's what you want. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to come in and set my torque wrench, my torque wrench at 40 foot-pounds. Zero that baby on 40, lock it in. Okay, so with the Oldsmobile engine, you got a guideline that you got to go by for torquing these in. So you go 1, I normally just like to tighten them down without torquing them all the way down first, and then come back across and take them in a little more. gotta skip around on these. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and all you're really doing is gonna work your way in. So then you're gonna go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so this is the old valve for the 403 here. This is the new one. This one had a valve, you know, that open and close. This one don't, so this must work internally. I went to Gordon's. He's about the best in town. He's old. And this is what he came up with. I'm gonna put this on here and see if this works or not. If not, I have to take it back to him. That's why I'm not gonna paint this and let him figure out the right one for me. So I'm gonna put thread sealer around here, and then I'm gonna put this on the intake. All right, then I wanna come in here, put gasket sealer all the way around the block. Okay, I want to drop the valve. I dropped the valve cover in there, and as you remember, I pried this back to get this out of here. So I put that back in. Now I think these are supposed to be torqued down at 15 pounds. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm gonna just snug these up. And I gotta find my little smaller torque wrench. I got a small torque wrench, and I gotta find that torque wrench. And it's been a long time since I did any engine work, mostly body work and interior. So I'm gonna torque these down for now, and then I'll come back in later. Probably won't do it on camera, but I'll come back in and torque these down in a little bit. I'm gonna throw something on the grill today. A few country style ribs. And so after I get that fired up, I'll come back in. These probably will be torqued to about where they need to be.